Welcome to this edition of Buncombe Life. Have you got any idea where I am? You would never guess in a million years. But if you stay with us, you'll find out. And I think you'll be encouraged, your heart will be warmed, and once again, you'll be proud that you live in Buncombe County. Okay, I'm here with Bill Murdoch, who is the Executive Director of the Eblen Charities. I almost said Eblen Foundation. It's not Foundation.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Still do the same things, but just different name.
Eblen Charities.
Eblen Charities.
Eblen Charities. And you go, why are you talking to Eblen Charities? If you just want to sit back a minute and relax, we'll tell you. It is amazing the things that you do. We cannot hit all of them, but I want to give our folks at home an idea of what an amazing thing that y'all do over here so that they can get involved, they can volunteer, they can give to the work that you do, and then they can just be proud of the fact that we have y'all here and what you do. So, how did Eblen get started? Bill, you're from here. You and I are homegrown.
That's right. We've been friends since I was at AB Tech and you were in high school.
That's right.
That's right.
How did Eblen Charities get started?
Well, started in actually 1990 with an idea that started with a golf tournament we did for cystic fibrosis. And it was Milo Guerin with J.D. Jackson, Jamie Blue, and with Jamie Jackson, Harry Giesentanner, Guy Roberts.
Lived here any amount of time, right. Those names are familiar.
Asheville Cleaners, Joe Ward, just a lot, some local businessmen got together to do a golf tournament to raise money for cystic fibrosis. And after our second year, after the second tournament, received a phone call from a young man, and he said he had a daughter who was 9 years old who had cystic fibrosis, and he had to take her to the hospital. He and his wife had to go to Duke the next day, and they couldn't afford the trip. And so we've gone to every organization that we know of that we could find, and everybody says we make too much money. And so I heard about the tournament, wanted to see if you could help. So we had sent the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation about $8,000 in the previous 2 years. And when I told them the story about this young man, they said that they wouldn't be able to help because they were there just for research. So one day the family might not have to worry about it. And of course we said, well, what about tomorrow?
It's not helping him today.
Exactly. What about tomorrow when he can't get his daughter to the hospital? So I called Joe Eblen, and Joe was kind enough. Joe had been sponsoring the tournament. It was it was the Eblen Cystic Fibrosis Celebrity Golf Classic at the time. And Joe had his own pocket paid for them to go. Joe, he never met them, never talked to them. He said, Bill, let me know what they need, and I'll take care of it. So we got talking shortly after that, and we both realized that if there's needs in our own community, if there's things that weren't being done here, as generous as people were, and as many as nonprofits as they were, and still are here in Asheville, Buncombe County, and Western North Carolina, but they still weren't able to get help. You know, maybe we should.
It didn't fit in the box of what these other folks
exactly.
were doing.
You know, back then, I think even now, sometimes the thought is, you know, if you need help, you can get it, and if you can't get it, then you really don't need it. And
that is classic. That is what a lot of people think. If you can't get it, then you don't need it.
And this young man and his wife said, you know, we have a mortgage, we have car payments, we have just like everyone else, insurance, but we can't afford the gas. We can't afford to spend the night, and we have to go. So again, Joe, just out of his kindness, paid out of his own pocket. And we said, well, if we're going to do this, we need to look at keeping our money here. So we checked with as many nonprofits as we could think of at the time, and couldn't find anybody to do what we had set out to do and what Eblen Charities is still doing today, you know, some 20 years later. And so we kind of thought, well, why don't we just set up our own? So we had a yard sale, and we raised $400. And actually what had happened was we put it in the bank on a Monday, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine on Wednesday, and he was working, and he needed some medication. He says, my company's plan doesn't cover this. You know, I was wondering if you could help. I said, well, sir, do me a favor, call your drugstore, find out how much it is. So he called me back, and it was exactly $400. So we gave away all the money we had in the bank to the first person who called. So that's where Eblen started.
And that was about 20 years ago?
That was 91, 92, yeah.
Yeah, so about 20 years ago.
About 20 years ago.
And you're still doing that, but now today, you have a lot more money.
Well, today we do, and thanks to our partnerships, like with the county especially, and with other groups, too, we're able to do a lot. We're still doing the exact same thing we did at the very first day, we're just doing a lot more of it.
Right. So people can come to you when they don't fit into anybody else's requirements.
They do, and they come to us even when they do fit in other requirements. and we're glad we do that. I mean, that's why we're here, to be able to reach out, to the community. And we feel it's just a real duty and a real privilege for all of us, not only, the staff here at Eblen, but our board of directors certainly, and all of our great volunteers, and especially the clients who come in and let us just be a part of what they're having to go through.
Of helping them.
And how we can reach out to help them.
Right. I've got two questions I want to hear here, because these seem to be what everybody wants to ask about every charity today. Where does the money come from?
Okay.
And how much of it actually gets into the hands of people?
Oh, that's a great question. And that's a question everybody should ask for every group.
I agree.
Whether it's Eblen or whoever it might be. Those are questions that I continually ask. The money here at Eblen comes from a lot of different places. We do events, of course. We still do the golf tournament, which is now the Brad Johnson Celebrity Golf Tournament. We do a Brad Doherty tournament in the fall. Y'all have seen the boosters and the pumpkins, in the fall. We still do that. Donations, of course, people are very generous and kind. We also contracts. We work with the county, especially state and federal contracts, and heating and utility assistance and things like that. So it comes from a lot of different ways, which is a good thing for us, for Eblen to do. That way, if one is kind of a shortfall, or if the need grows in a particular area, we don't just rely on one thing.
Right.
And the money, our administrative cost is like 2-3%, something. It's very small, because we want to make sure that the money we raise, and we also do things like our coat drive that we do with WLOS. We raised 10,000 coats this last year that we'll be giving away in October. Right. With Ingalls Markets, we have some wonderful partnerships with Ingalls. Tools for Schools.
Tools for Schools,
Raised more than 1 million items in 16 hours in front of Ingalls with WLOS and with Clear Channel. And just right out here, we gave them away. More than 1,400 students got help, as school started. And that's something we do all year long. It's not just, we give them paper, pencils, and backpack, or whatever, and say, good luck, because they run out. So that's something we do continually. So we have a lot of great partners too. So it's not just the money that comes in, but whether it's the turkeys, again, we do with Brad Doherty, we do with Ingalls 1,000 turkeys we give away the day before Thanksgiving to our clients. The Ingalls Christmas store that we work with, almost 6,000 children last year, were assisted through Eblen and our partnerships at Christmas time.
Yeah. So almost all of the money that comes in goes out in some way.
Absolutely.
Because the administrative is very
is very low, and we're here. We're at Westgate, and the Froggas, Tony and Frog, have been so kind, in the great deal they've given us, on the office space and the extra space they've let us use. So what's things neat about Eblen? It works for everybody. It's just everybody belongs to everybody.
Right.
It's just it's not only what we do, but we feel we're kind of the conduit and sometimes just the hands and legs for a lot of good work being done.
Yeah.
We just have maybe a platform to be able to do that.
Right, and to get it out to people. Okay, stay with us. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation.
I'll be right in.
Okay.
My name's Dave Ligotti. I'm a jazz singer. I play in venues in the Asheville area here now. After the ordinance was mandated to have non-smoking venues, my health has definitely improved. My voice range has increased. I even had positive comments from smokers who admitted that although they smoked cigarettes, they still didn't like sitting in a room that was just emanating with cigarette smoke. It's very wonderful to play in a smoke-free environment.
I'm Sheriff Van Duncan of Buncombe County.
And I'm Chief William Anderson of the Asheville Police Department. Do you know the first 24 hours are critical when your pet goes missing?
If you haven't seen your pet in 24 hours, act now by notifying the Buncombe County Animal Shelter and all other surrounding shelters.
Search the area you last saw your pet and alert friends, neighbors, local businesses, and veterinarians.
By acting now, your pet will be home much sooner. Report your lost pet to 828-250-6430.
Welcome back. We're here to finish our conversation. Bill, now, one thing I wanted to ask you, which I think is wonderful, because we heard from some school teachers that came to us with the county, and I think we pushed them on to you guys, who said, I have students in my classroom who wear the same thing every day to school. Now, not only is that they're dirty, but the other kids are giving them a hard time. What can I do? I can't afford to do this. What can I do? And y'all helped them.
We did. We have our student.
I personally love that because I heard that one.
we have our student clothing project, and along with our If the Shoe Fits program, which is a partnership with the Asheville Tourist Children's Fund. Yeah. Just this year alone, in the first week of school, we saw more children for our students for clothes and shoes than we did the first month of school last year. And we work with Goodwill, we work with Kohl's, we work with Target and Walmart. And what's neat about our program is the students get to go and shop. They don't just get a box of clothes or something. They actually go and shop just like you or I would, or our children would do that.
And y'all, this is huge. When we saw those teachers, the few that came in to meet with the commissioners, I just happened to be in there, and said, you just don't know how hard it is to see these kids come in every day and they get made fun of, and then they get the clothes and you get them something. You sneak them a couple of shirts and they're so proud to come in with those new clothes on. That is, you just don't hear about that anywhere.
Well, Susan Riddle here in our office, and and all of our staff, it's just amazing, and I don't think they get anywhere near the credit that they deserve, because they get to see these wonderful families all the time. Elizabeth Robinson, who's been here almost as long as I have, and Brenda Wheeler and Sandy Kennedy and Nita Hensley, all from DSS. They're all retired DSS workers that have come here. Jenny Eldrith also, and of course Dana Dill and Nalina Brenzel, Bill Waddell, who's out in the community all the time, working deals and finding things. Philippe Ross and Marianne McMahon, who's our volunteer coordinator, retired school teacher, who's actually a volunteer, helps coordinate all the volunteers for us. It takes
a mountain of volunteers.
It does, and we've grown because of that, and bringing in good folks. Amelia Weaver, who's just joined us, there was a volunteer as well, and it's neat just to see the whole community coming together under a banner like Eblen or other groups too, to be able for us to provide maybe a platform. Remember the Mom Clinic, the Missions of Mercy Clinic that we do in partnership with Buncombe County. Almost 800 folks we saw, for free dental care in 2 days. Right. Dr. Jack Teague was the one who brought that here a number of years ago.
So you guys you're not just okay, these are the programs we're going to do, this is all we're going to do. You're expanding and changing, and if it's not working, you stop it. If it needs to be changed, you change it up.
And Jack, like Jack brought Mom in, and then a second year he said, can Eblen kind of help coordinate it, which we did. So now this was our third year. I think it gets better every year. So, and it's like Dr. Keith Black, he said, Keith's on our board too. He says, our dental sealing program, that was Keith's idea. And now we're into our 15th year, in doing that, seeing up to 800 students a year for free dental sealants. And again, they had the ideas, they had something that would work, and we were just able to provide, again, the platform or something to build it on and help coordinate it and put it together.
So if our folks at home are thinking they might know someone who needs help, or they need help and they just don't know who else to call, can they call Eblen Charities?
Absolutely. We're here at Westgate, 50
right.
Westgate Parkway. or 255-3066, or my cell number is 242-2848. They can call me directly, and I can certainly get them to the right person.
That's right.
And where Eblen really started to grow, though, at the very beginning was our partnership with the counties, with Buncombe County. When we started working with Mandy Stone and Jerome Jones at the time, when he was assistant county manager, and working with the Emergency Assistance Program and Crisis Intervention and a number of those programs, and working with the county commissioners, working with Wanda Green, and certainly with Mandy and Tim Rhodes and all, is one of the real reasons it works. I think it's just a shining example of what government agencies and non-government agencies can do, as a public-private partnership in developing programs, expanding programs.
Yeah. When you keep hope is your number one thing that y'all are doing here, is giving people hope. Because you're really not solving their problems, you're helping them get on the road to solving it themselves.
We are, and at times, sometimes we've been accused of just putting Band-Aids on problems. And sometimes that's what we do, but Band-Aids sometimes are a great thing.
I was trying to say, sometimes that's all you need.
That's all you need. And there are times that we've been able to help families save their homes. There's times we've been able to get children to hospitals, or elderly people, their heating assistance. So there's so many things like that mean the world to folks. We have people sometimes coming here, they don't have $2 for a copay or $3 for a copay for medication. And to them, it might as well be, $3,000. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
That's right.
And so, hopefully we're able to do that. And I think that's what's so neat. And we were still doing this after all these years. The very first question when I was the only employee at Eblen, when that first gentleman called is how can we help? What do you need? How can we help? Is the same question we ask everybody who walks in the door today. Is how can we help you? What do you need? And everybody's story is different.
Well, and probably the first thing they say is the biggest thing they need.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a lot of courage sometimes to come and ask for help. It does. It's such a wonderful place that we live, and people are so proud, and not in a negative way, but just, and to see them sometimes, maybe out here in the parking lot, sitting in the cars.
They just can't do it.
Right,
and
they're just, they're just deciding. Then when they come in, and one neat story, there was an older gentleman came in. This was a while ago, and he needed some help with his electric bill. He needed to get his electric bill paid, and he was sitting there. So I went out, just had him go through the lobby, and asked him, if he wanted something to drink, and he just, said no. And I said, well, we got some water, we got something. He said, last place I went to, they wouldn't even let me bring something in. And you're asking me if I want something. And we usually have coffee and donuts, in the morning, or, water for them. And so I had a chance to talk to him a little bit, and he saw, I guess it was Elizabeth who he had seen. And he'd never been to us before. He'd never been to anybody before. He had retired, he had a pension and Social Security, and he and his wife were doing, fine. And what had happened was he said that he had written a lot of checks that bounced. And he said, I couldn't quite figure that out. I've never written a check in my entire life that didn't have the funds. And what had happened was his medication, he had a $3 or $4 copay on a particular medication. Well, that medication changed. And now it was I think it was like $300.
Oh, wow.
But nobody told him that when he went to the drugstore.
Yeah.
And so where all this was coming out of his checks, he was fine, but he had no idea. And he said, I traced it back and found out what had happened, and I had no idea that this wasn't covered anymore. So, of course, all my other checks bounced. So what we did, we were able to get him on a couple of our medication programs where he didn't have to pay for his medication. We called the bank, and they refunded all of his check fees, and everything got straightened out. Got his electric bill paid, and I just remember him leaving. Said, I just came here to get my electric bill, help with my electric bill. I didn't know you'd straighten out my checkbook, and and get these other things for me too. But it was just.
But that's who we are. That's how we want to be. I know people at home feel just like this. You call somewhere and you get the automated thing, and you can't get a human body. That's not who we are. We want to help people, and we want help when we need it.
And when we take time with folks and talk to them, tell us what's going on. You've never been in. He said, and generally was very open. He said he was somewhat embarrassed, but of course it wasn't his fault. He said, they just didn't tell me, and I went back and traced it and then found out what happened. And by then it was too late. Now I've got these bad fees, and I've got, I've written some bad checks, and I've never done that before. And so we were able to work with him. And by the time he left, you know, 30,
Oh,
40
yeah.
minutes later, all of it was taken care of.
Yeah.
And you know, so that was neat to be able to do that.
And I bet you have a lot of those people who come back and say, Eblen has helped me, how can I help you?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, they're not able to, but we have a lot of great support from the folks who, or we'll be doing the coat drive, or we'll be doing the car wash at Gorilla Car Wash or something, and some folks will come by and just say, in fact, one gentleman came by during Tools for Schools and gave us $5, and his car was, you know, older car and was making a bit of noise, and he said, "You helped us this year with oil." And I really appreciate that.
I just want to give back.
And I just want to be able to do this. One lady, also the very last person at Tools for Schools at Ingalls on Tunnel Road, and she gave $15. And she said, "I've never had to have help before, and you helped me last winter. And this isn't much, but I really wanted to give it." And I said, "Ma'am, you know, we're working with a number of places, and believe it or not, this $15, I think we were buying notebooks for like 17 cents. So I said, "You bought like 100 notebooks here." You know, she goes, "Really? I did that much?" I said, "Absolutely." So I don't think $15 isn't much. I said, you just helped 100 students be able to start school.
That's right.
So it's neat to be able to get the whole community to be able to work together like
aren't
that.
you proud of Eblen Charities? I knew they would enjoy hearing this, Bill.
Well, and we're certainly proud to be here. And again, it wasn't for our great partnerships, you know, with the county, with Mission Hospital, and Three Streams, and Hearts with Him. I mean, there's so many great organizations that we're just very proud, you know, to be part of, and to be able for all of our outreaches. Because I mean, we always believe that something worth doing isn't worth doing by yourself. You know, and we can all do so much more together than any one of us or any group can do, you know, on its own.
I'm Mike Caraway. I work for the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. Don't feed the bears. A fed bear is a dead bear.
Okay, I'm glad you stayed with us because Bill has taken us now into the coat room. This is amazing. You heard him talk earlier about people donating coats to Eblen to give away. This is where they're all stored. The giveaway's coming up here in a few weeks.
Yep, it is about 4 weeks. Yeah,
about 4 weeks. And goodness, about how many coats would you say you got donated from local folks?
Right, about 10,000, maybe a little bit more.
Wow.
It was a WLOS Spring Clean Coat Drive we did in March.
Yeah.
And then Kmart sold us all their children's coats they had left at the end of the season, and thanks to Charles Dyson and Jan Irv at the time, actually Mr. Dyson had called and said, "Bill, they got coats over there, go talk to them. They gave us a great deal," and Mr. Dyson said, we'll take care of, we'll pay for them all. You just get everything that you need." So we got, and a lot of them are brand new coats. And one thing about what we do here at Eblen, with no matter what it is, whether it's furniture, whether it's coats, clothes, we never give anything away we wouldn't take home ourselves. So that they're not anything with holes in them. There's not anything that anybody would be ashamed to wear. We go through everything, and either if it's a zipper we can repair, that's great. But if it's something that we even questionable, you know, we will make sure that we don't give it to someone to take home.
Yeah, I looked through. There's some nice stuff here, and so when you open the doors of this coat giveaway, how will that work? People will just come in and
we'll have volunteers here. We'll set it up for 3 or 4 days in mid-October, and folks will come in, and if they find a coat that they like and fits, it's all theirs.
Wow.
So that's how it works.
That is so
And then
cool.
then in November, end of November and all of December, the old Buncombe building here, for all of us who used to know, and I used to work right over there.
That's right, in
in Buncombe in the men's department, it becomes the Ingalls Toy Store. You can see our big sign back
yeah.
there, and this is where our families will come and shop for Christmas.
For Christmas.
It'll be right here. And again, thanks to Tony and Isa Fraga for their kindness and letting us use this space.
Yeah. So, and I know folks have heard about your toy giveaway before, so that's what this will turn into.
Right.
You told me earlier a story that happened last Christmas that the folks at home have just got to hear. Will you tell me that story again?
Sure, and you know, the St. Nicholas Project grew out of just helping 5 families, and the Smoky Mountain Toy Run with the local hog chapter is where it all kicks off. You know, of course, this toy store became the Ingalls Toy Store last year. So again, it's a certainly a community effort. But the neat story about the guitar was, I guess it was mid-December, and it was just late, about 4:30 one afternoon. I was back at our Waddell Client Service Center at the office, and a gentleman came in, older gentleman, kind of heavy set. He had on overalls, had on a jean jacket, ball cap, I can't remember what military insignia had on it. He had a beard, kind of white beard, kind of fairly long, long white hair. And he came in carrying this very nice cardboard guitar case. Actually, it was the same guitar case I had when I was in high school. Yeah. And he said, you know, I've had this guitar for years, and I don't play. It's brand new. It still has the tags on it. And I've had it in storage since 1972.
And this was last year?
This was last year. Said a friend of mine gave this to me, and he and I went to Vietnam together, and he was killed over there. And I kept this guitar in storage the whole time. Still, again, still has the tags on it. It's brand new. And I've been reading about Eblen for a long time. I've been following, you know, you, and I just wanted to bring this by. I thought maybe you could find a good home for it. And you know, we get a lot of things donated from time to time, and we never had a guitar, but we thought that was awfully nice of him. So we said, yeah, thank you, sir. And he left, and didn't even get his name, you know, and he just disappeared. So the next day we were out collecting toy boxes at a number of our great companies and partners, you know, that'll collect for us during the year. And Elizabeth Robinson had called me, and she was interviewing a lady, and she said, Bill, tell me this guitar, please tell me this guitar isn't promised to somebody. I was thinking, guitar. Oh, the thing from yesterday. No. A young lady had come in for some help with some bills that she had, and she was working part-time. A single mom, had a daughter 13, 14 years old. All she wanted for Christmas was the guitar. And what happened was, we didn't know that at the time, that when Elizabeth was talking to her, paying, working on an electric bill, she started talking about ask her for Christmas. And that's one thing we do. If they're in here for just one thing, you know, we'll see if there's anything else we can do to help. So when she knows she had a daughter, so well, how are you set for Christmas? And the lady started crying and just said, well, I had one gift for her. All she wanted was one thing, and I had it. And you know, I guess she bought it, and then she pawned it to be able to pay her water bill. And she said, well, let's go over to the Ingalls Toy Store and see, you know, if we have something, you know, we can find for her. And so Elizabeth, I was walking over here with her, and she said, just out of curiosity, I said, you know, by the way, what was that one gift? And she said it was a guitar. And said that's all she wanted. In fact, she even bought a guitar peg for her wall at a yard sale for 25 cents. And she's had that for 6 months.
Waiting for
the guitar. And so she called me and says, please tell me this guitar isn't for somebody. I said, no, not at all. So the lady was over here, so she came back and got her. And said, babe, can you come back just for a few minutes? Because is everything okay? She goes, oh yeah, I just got to get you to sign a couple of things, and we're going to be good. So she goes over there, walks into Elizabeth's office. There's a guitar sitting there
with the tag
still on it, and you know, so she started. And it's funny. I mean, the mother probably wasn't even born at the time, and this guitar had been in storage, just waiting all this time for this one thing. It was one of the neatest things that we'd ever seen. So the mother starts crying, and Elizabeth, then all the rest of the staff come in. They were all everybody's crying, and it was such a neat story to be able to do it. But again, it was that one question. You know, if she hadn't come here, or if Elizabeth hadn't asked that right question, or if that gentleman, out of his kindness of his heart, just happened to come in here less than 12 hours before and just drop this guitar off that had been in storage. In storage for 40 years. Yeah. And just for this one young girl to be able to have her guitar.
I love that story, because that story is community.
Absolutely.
That's what we are. That's what Eblen is, and I just think that's something that you can certainly be proud of. I know we've enjoyed the visit, Bill. Thank you for showing us around.
Thank you for being here.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Buncombe Life. I came out here to end the show so you would know where we were, in case you need to come see Eblen, visit their offices, or send somebody their way anytime. It's here at the Westgate Shopping Center. Kind of right behind me is where you can find the door to their offices. Eblen Charities is a wonderful thing here. They work with us in Buncombe County, and they just provide an amazing service. If you know anybody who needs their services, please don't hesitate to refer them to Eblen, especially as we move through the winter season. Again, thank you for watching us, and stay tuned for next month when, again, you never know where it will be.